I've argued before, I think Baltimore may be the best run organization in the sport, and if they're not, it's Kansas City. Two great coaches, two great owners, excellent executives, usually excellent coordinators and defenses. The difference has been Mahomes and Lamar. And it's not just that Mahomes is better than Lamar. Mahomes is better than everybody in the last 20 years not named Tom Brady. It's that Lamar falls off a cliff against Kansas City. And you know I love Lamar. I've been saying this forever. This is a Hall of Famer. But when these two meet head-to-head, Lamar can't complete 56% of his throws. His passer rating is like CFL. And this is one of the most gifted quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. What the hell happens? So clearly this rivalry, it's not about the coaches, not about the owners, not about the draft picks, not about the defense. It's been about Lamar regressing. Why? So let's start with this. Mahomes is a better player. Okay, he's better than everybody. He's better than everybody not named Brady in the last 2 decades. He's better than everybody. But why is he falling off a cliff? And let me theorize why I believe this to be. So Lamar Jackson is 20-1. That doesn't even make sense against the NFC. And I mean, he's blown the doors off teams like good Detroit, San Francisco. He's 20-1 against the NFC. Why? Because if you don't face Lamar Jackson regularly, it's like growing up in San Diego and trying to drive on ice. You can read a manual. It's not going to work. You got to be on ice, driving on that ice in Milwaukee and Minnesota for years to figure it out. That hyper speed is like nothing we've seen. It's like Michael Vick, but way faster, way twitchier. It's like being a parent. Your grandparents give you a heads up, your neighbors, your friends. Yet Dr. Spock didn't give you a heads up on the smells of it. And so if you've never faced Lamar or faced him infrequently, there's nothing like him. You have nobody on your roster to duplicate him. But if you face him regularly, I had a GM tell me this years ago, you get him a second time in a season, and Steve Spagnuolo now faces him on a fairly regular basis, you can have game plan for him. But you couldn't game plan for Brady, and you can't game plan for Mahomes. Because what makes Brady and Mahomes so brilliant, you took away the deep ball from Mahomes. He's like, okay, death by 1,000 cuts. You took away Randy Moss from Brady. Okay, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Is that both Mahomes and Brady have a second pitch, a third pitch, a fourth pitch. And that's why they're the two greatest quarterbacks, in my opinion, of all time. Nolan Ryan had a great fastball. And if it was humming, we may get a no-hitter. But he won 52% of his games. Clayton Kershaw didn't throw that hard. He went over 60, right? And didn't have all the no-hitters. And so I think what Lamar is developing, and I've always said he's a better passer than he gets credit for. I watch the games, you watch the games. It's not a liability. But Brady and Mahomes have mastered the pocket to a level that, I mean, there's only a couple people like a Peyton Manning, a Marino, and Elway that even rival it. An Aaron Rodgers, a Marino. I mean, there's just a handful of Breeze, handful of guys ever that have rivaled it. And so that's what's fascinating about Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. It's not that Mahomes is winning. It's that Lamar falls off a cliff. And it does appear, I'm not saying Lamar's Nolan Ryan, but it does kind of feel like if Lamar's run game is implemented and humming, lights out. If you can slow that down, if you're hitting a fastball, it doesn't feel quite the same. And I think that...
Okay. So I really understand everything that Colin is saying. And I agree with the sentiment of it and the meat and the potatoes of it, but not the whys of it. And real quick, before I jump into my take of the whole thing, I just want to say this is a perfect example. You know, these stats as to why, because someone asked me, why do I can't have it both ways where I defend Josh Allen for like not winning and kind of call out Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And it's because Josh Allen doesn't fall off a cliff in the playoffs or against Patrick Mahomes like Lamar Jackson does right here, as we can clearly see with these stats, right? Like Josh Allen does everything to put his team in a position to win, while Lamar Jackson kind of acts more of a liability. Now listen, they could have won that game against the Chiefs last season in the playoffs, right? They could have won, and I've defended the whole fact of the mistakes that the Ravens made, whether it be the game plan, whether it be the penalties, the fumbles. Like, so I don't put that on Lamar, but he didn't do enough. You never really felt that they had any control of that game. You never felt like Lamar was ever comfortable in that game. The whole time he looked uncomfortable, and that does fall on Lamar. Lamar, I don't think, can overcome a bad game plan or bad coaching or just offensive liabilities that may happen, like fumbles and things of that nature. It's just much harder for him, whereas I think someone like a Josh Allen is better equipped to be able to deal with that. He can beat you in the pocket and he can barrel through you. But here's the thing. I don't blame Lamar. I don't look at this. A lot of fans are going to look at this, and I guess even the media will look at this and say, see, Lamar can't handle it. You know, the Chiefs are just too good, and the Chiefs know how to contain him, yada, yada, yada. Look at that. Look, he 55.7% and only 204 yards and 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And it's more than that, though. That's not really the whole story. I blame coaching. I just do. I blame the offensive plan that the Ravens take into, because he just praised the coaching and said all of this. And yet I really feel in the playoffs last season, they left Lamar on an island. They were like, Lamar, you're not really running that much, so like, here you go. You're just going to try your best to kind of throw. You're not really going to have a lot of open receivers. We're going to kind of force you to throw the ball down the field. It's kind of rainy, kind of windy. You know, we know this whole time you've been handing the ball off a lot. We've been doing design runs, but like, we're not going to do that against like the best defense in the playoffs in bad weather. Here you go. Like, it really felt like they just said, hey, Lamar, I didn't realize we had a game today. We're playing the Chiefs. Yeah, man, can you just go out there and just like do your best? That's honestly what it felt to me. Go back and watch that game. It felt like they had no idea what they were doing. It truly felt like it was just like they just woke up, the alarm was late, and they're like, oh my God, we got a game. And they just quickly ran and got there, tied up their laces, and were like, all right, man, I just need you to be Lamar. Just please, like, try to win this game by being really strong and athletic. Just try your best. It reminded me of high school football. If you ever watch a lot of high school football games, you'll realize, unless maybe if you live in Texas, you'll realize that a lot of programs are really bad. They just don't have enough good players. Oftentimes, they'll have like the most athletic person and the most just like kind of physically gifted person will often play like kind of quarterback, because they can throw, they can run, and it's just like you're just like trying your best. Maybe you have a wide receiver, maybe you have a tight end if you have a big strong guy that you can kind of feed the ball. Like, just again, I'm talking about like lower level programs, not top level programs. And a lot of times it's just like because you want, the reason why you have like the most athletic person and the most gifted person is your quarterback, because like you just need the ball in his hands at any moment, because there's just not good enough players. There's just not good enough good enough players to kind of handle the load of it all. So you just need the player, you just need it in his hands as frequently as possible. You see very similar things in other sports as well, like baseball, for instance, where the best players are usually going to be a pitcher, shortstop, or center, where they just have the ability to like touch the ball as frequently as possible. But to stick with football, of course, like that's what it felt to me, that Lamar Jackson was just playing. He was just like really athletic. Everyone else was weak, and they were just like, just try your best, man. Just try your best. We know we don't really have a good team, but just like try your best. That's what it felt like. I just felt like I was watching a high school game. And I blame coaching for that. I don't think Lamar just panics in this moment. I don't think Lamar just goes, oh my God, I don't know how to play football. It's not like his completion percentage. It's not like Lamar is just sailing the ball over everyone's head in those moments when he plays the Chiefs, throwing it in at their feet. It's just the game gets so much harder against the Chiefs, and you can make the argument that Lamar Jackson's not good enough to excel in those moments, but I really lean so much more heavily on the game plan. I really do. And the fact that Colin's kind of highlighting, well, hey, when he's 20-1 or whatever it was against the NFC, but when you have a game plan against Lamar, when you face Lamar multiple times, you can beat him. Again, well, I blame the coaching for then not putting him in a position to be able to survive that. Because Lamar has the raw talent. He just does. And yeah, he's not a liability in the pocket. He's really not. I think people, because they don't watch all the games, understandably so, you can only watch so many games. We know Lamar can throw the ball. I mean, we know Lamar can run like crazy. And we know that definitely is his strongest suit. But then people just automatically assume he can't throw. They say the same thing about Jalen Hurts. Oh, he's just a running quarterback. And it's like, that's not even remotely accurate. To me, that just feels like people just not actually watching the games and understanding what these players can do. Lamar is not this big liability. The dude like effortlessly throws the ball like 900 yards down the field. I mean, like it's just like it's effortless for him. But they haven't designed an offense around him to allow him to be consistently throwing the ball well, to excel that if they do minimize the run. The Ravens have built this culture around Lamar to just run, and not really develop other aspects of his game in a way that would then make the game plan more efficient when you do face the Chiefs. So therefore, it's harder for, say, a Lamar Jackson to be able to then win by death by 1,000 cuts. And if they're going to just be run heavy like that, then don't abandon it when you face the Chiefs. And don't give me this that the Chiefs just took away his run. Because that's not, I reject that. So yeah, I mean, Lamar does deserve some blame. This isn't to say that Lamar is blameless in this. But I just think that when we look at stats like this, people will just be too quick just to jump on Lamar. And I just don't think that's fair. I think Lamar's probably like, I don't know, man, I'm making up percentages here, like 30, 40%. And the rest, I blame on the team. I blame on the approach. I blame on their development of him. I blame them on the weapons that they surround him with and the way what their plan of attack is. And I think Lamar is good enough to be able to play better in those moments. And I don't think Harbaugh should keep getting this pass. Like, I don't understand why he's deserved this pass. He essentially has a very similar record and resume to Mike McCarthy. Nobody is giving Mike McCarthy a pass. Everybody gives Harbaugh a pass, and I'm not really sure why. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think there's pressure for the Ravens to beat the Chiefs? And, do you think Lamar needs to prove that he can kind of overcome I guess the Chiefs are just playing in these tighter, more competitive games that I guess that are not in the NFC. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.